When you went to Korea, as you allude to there, you went through what basically everyone did, which is you go there, you think, I'm pretty good in the West. You know, like, yeah, I've put a few Koreans at tournaments, so yeah, they're good, but, you know, like, give me a chance. And I've basically found, I mean, I talk about this a lot in my interview I did with Nanawa, because he was one of the people who sort of really opened my eyes to this. He told me, like, you almost have to have, like, a masochist mentality. You got to go there and know they are going to actually just body me for, like, maybe 2 months. And in fact, even if I'm in a team house, like, you know, from the outside, all those idiots on Team Liquid thought, like, oh, they're all friends in the team house with the Westerners. They give them everything. It's like, dude, the coach might tell the guy to give you a practice, but he might be begrudging. If he doesn't think you're good enough, he'll just begrudgingly give you that practice. He might not even try in it. And also, by the way, unless you have a really great relationship, you're definitely not going up to the superstar player on the Korean team and going, oh, can you practice me 1v1 now on the maps I want? And that, you know, like, remember the way the hierarchy in their house is. Everyone gives all the resources to the star player. They practice his matchup and what his maps he's going to play against the next guy. You know, people don't realize it's not as simple like an exchange of information. So when you went there, what was the initial like exposure like? Like, is it shocking to go and fail a qualifier for GSL and be there for I've got to wait another month and to be in these team houses and find out what the reality's like?
Yeah, I mean, I had never been outside of North America before. I had never been to a big city. I'd never seen a skyscraper. Like, all of this stuff was so new to me. I remember to this day, I flew into Korea. It was rainy, and just driving from the airport to the team house, seeing all the neon lights, just like a simple thing like that was like mind blowing to me. And then you get to the team house, hearing the keyboards, like, I'm really tired. I just flew, you know, whatever it was, 16 hours or something. When you're in a team house and you hear like 8 to 10 people practicing, clicking their keyboard in Starcraft, it sounds kind of like rain, was really soothing to me. And like, all of these memories, I don't think I'll ever forget. As far as the hierarchy, yeah, like, initially you gotta kind of prove yourself. There's definitely like a mentality of respect, and if you're not up to par, even like you said, we had like when I initially got there, like an internal practice system where everybody had to play each other a certain amount of games, and then there's like an internal team ranking, and then that's how they pick who plays in GSTL or whatever. You know, if you're on the lower end of that, people are just gonna like cheese you, right? And it's not about winning or losing. It's like, I just want to get this over with because it's not going to be beneficial to me. And then yeah, if you're a good player, you have an important match coming up, whether the coach dictates it or it's just kind of like understood culturally within the team, you're going to have practice partners. And the practice is not like a unilateral, mutually beneficial thing. It's, you know, one-sided in the sense that one of those players, you know, if you're the star player, you're going to get someone to practice and you're going to say like, hey, this is what I want you to do. This is the build I think he's going to come out with. I need you to run this. I need you to run it like 10, 15 times. And then, okay, next game, I want you to do this iteration. Or, you know, they might open up and say like, okay, like every 5 games, I want you to throw in some kind of cheese or whatever. But you're literally the practice dummy in that situation. Yes. So it doesn't matter if you play that map. It doesn't matter if, you know, you want to practice your own build and that's not your style. You're kind of, you know, doing that for that player. And it goes both ways, right? Like, once you do gain that respect, once you are an established pro, once you have even just that personal relationship with your teammates, you are going to have that same length. And then it becomes mutual, right? Like, I'm going to practice with you, you're going to practice with me. Like, you know, we can ask each other to help. But I think compared to Nanawa, I had a way easier time in Korea than him. And it's partly to do with the Team Liquid OGS partnership, but it's also like I was there for a long time. I actually like was pretty close with those a lot of those guys still consider them close friends. So I had probably a lot of the benefits that maybe he didn't have.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure also the social aspect helps. Like, yeah, listen, I'm sure he realizes himself he didn't do himself any favors. He did basically alienate all the Koreans and then think the ones in my team house will be okay. It's like, you know, thing I went through. What I want to ask was this, and I'm asking it very carefully, because he made a very bold accusation in his video, which he genuinely believes, before he played famously MVP in GSL, he believes that basically, we won't say who, again, it's up to him to make the accusation. He basically believes like some players who actually were in his practice circle in the team house just leaked like builds or what he was practicing or how he played, you know, because he literally felt like he got like hard counted or something. Did you ever get any sense that anything like this was going on? Was there anything like this ever entered your consciousness while you were there?
Entered my consciousness, yes. So like I don't know, right? I don't know the MVP guys nearly as well as I knew the OGS guys. I think it's totally plausible that it could have happened. I think so. For me personally, I am not and maybe to deal with, my upbringing and everything else, I'm not a very trusting person, especially back then. So I did not practice a lot with other people. There was like 1 or 2 matches that I can remember that I did. Because I didn't trust people. And it's like I didn't trust anyone. And I also just I literally just played ranked all the time. That's how I practice. There are other players, like I know Jinro, for example, was, very trusting and like practice and had practice partners, and like he was very methodical with how he did his builds. For me, I don't think there's any. I think looking back, I definitely could have trusted those OGS guys more and probably would have been a better player. But like for multiple reasons, for whatever reason, I just didn't. I didn't like playing with other people, and I always kind of like thought, like, oh, what happened? If they leak this, I'm just screwed, right?
Yes.
Like, there's no chance if it gets leaked somehow. Or I could just play ladder, and I feel like I'm pretty good, and I can get more or less sync practice. So I was just kind of like, I'll just do the safer option to me. I think misstep by me, but for Nanawa, I think it's totally possible considering what happened for him in Korea in comparison.
Considering they also hated him, yeah. Like I always told him that didn't help. That certainly didn't help the equation. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.